This is the podcast about the golden age of hip-hop. Dance. .808 freestyle. The culture, the happenings, and the stories of early hip-hop. Come on, let's ride. Across all socials, subscribe at iTunes, iHeart, YouTube, Stitcher, and many more. Welcome to the Old School Rewind Podcast with Aaron Goodwin.
Aaron Goodwin back at you. Thanks to Amici. The 35 Acres and a Microphone podcast farm is where we originate this podcast. It is a podcast that tributes the old school, what they're now calling true school. About 1979 into about 82, up to about 86, 87. New Jack started right around 91, and we're doing that gap between about 79 and 87, 88. If we dabble into 89 and 90, then okay, but old school is true school. True school is old school. These would be the throwbacks of throwbacks. If you listen to the throwbacks nowadays, that's mid-90s, low 90s for the throwbacks, and just shows me how actually old and young I think I am. But my name's Aaron. For years, I was a radio DJ in the area of Central California, and a couple of years ago, I had an idea to throw a podcast on the old interweb that tributes old school. Decided to call it the Old School Rewind. You find us anywhere you find podcasts. If you haven't shared, if you haven't subscribed, click that notification button. If you haven't told somebody about it, shame on you. Please do that for me. It's a labor of love that I throw to you every Friday in hopes to tell you a little bit more about the songs you may have known or not known, and how hip-hop and breakdancing and pop-locking and all of that turned into a culture. Actually turned into a culture from graffiti and that culture from New York, but spawned the dance culture into the dance remix culture, into the rap culture, into, well, what we have nowadays. And I was on that radio when these songs were trying to be played in markets where they didn't have folks that were heavy influenced by black music or a large population, if you will, black population that could support a black radio station. But that's why I throw the podcast on in tribute of old school radio, the original throwbacks and those artists and those songs. And this week on The Rewind, paying tribute to Chaka Khan, singer, songwriter, actor, activist. Chaka Khan was born Yvette Marie Stevens on March 23, 1953, into an artistic Bohemian household in Chicago, Illinois. Bohemian is not a word used much anymore, but by definition it meant socially unconventional, but involved in the arts or in an artistic way. Bohemian, free-spirited. Chaka, or Yvette, was the eldest of 5 kids, born to Charles Stevens and Sandra Coleman. Yvette described her father as a beatnik and her mother as able to do anything. She was raised in the Hyde Park area, which had been called an island in the middle of madness of Chicago's rough Southside housing projects. Her sister Yvonne later became a successful musician in her own right under the name Taka Boom. Her only brother Mark, who formed the funk group Aurra, also became a successful musician. She has 2 other sisters, Yvette Stevens and Tammy McCrary. Yvette was raised as a Catholic. She attributes her love of music to her grandma, who introduced her to jazz as a child. Yvette soon became a fan of rhythm and blues music, and as a preteen, 11 years old, forming a girl group, the Crystalettes, and that included her sister Taka. In the late 1960s, Yvette attended several civil rights rallies with their father's second wife, Connie. She was a strong supporter of the movement and joined the Black Panther Party after befriending fellow member activist and Chicago native Fred Hampton in 1967. Still trying to rub off the cold. The allergies have been a little weird here. A lot of people think that she was given the name Chaka while in the Black Panthers, but she's made it clear that her name Chaka Aduni Adufi Hudari Karifi was given to her at age 13 by a Yoruba Baba. In 1969, she left the Panthers, dropped out of high school, having attended Calumet High School and Kenwood High School, now Kenwood Academy. Chaka began to perform in small groups around the Chicago area, first performing with Cash McCall's group Life, which included her then-boyfriend Hassan Khan. Chaka and Hassan married in 1970. Chaka was then asked to replace Baby Huey of Baby Huey and the Babysitters, a great singer, a tight band. Oh, remember Hard Times?
Having hard times in this crazy town. Having hard times, there's no love to be found. Having hard times in this crazy town. Having hard times, there's no love to be found.
After Huey's death in 1970, the group disbanded a year later. While performing in local bands in 1972, Chaka Khan was spotted by 2 members of a new group called Rufus. soon won her position in the group. She replaced rock and roll singer Paulette McWilliams. The group caught the attention of music Ike Turner, flew him out to L.A. to record at his studio Bollock Sound in Inglewood. Ike wanted Chaka Khan to become an Ikeette. Ikeette. She declined, stating she was really happy with Rufus. Ike's attention, certainly a boost for her. An Ikeette. Just remember, she turned into an icon, actually. Early on, Chaka caught the attention of music icon Stevie Wonder, who penned her first smash hit with Rufus. Tell Me Something Good.
You ain't got no kind of feeling inside.
Tell me something good.
Tell me that you love me, yeah.
Tell me something good.
The single from the group's 1974 platinum-selling album, Rags to Rufus, earned Chaka her first Grammy Award. With Chaka as the group's dynamic center, Rufus became one of the most popular acts around, selling out shows throughout the country, dominating the airwaves with hit after hit with songs such as You Got the Love, which Chaka co-wrote,
Love me right. What's the matter with you? Hold me tight. Why must I tell you what to do? Smiling, smiling.
Once you get started,
When you get down, y'all. When you get down, ain't no turning back, no.
Sweet Thing.
I will love you anyway, even if you cannot stay. I think you are the one for me. Here is where you ought to be.
Everlasting Love.
I wanna give you an everlasting love. I wanna fill your life with a satisfying love. All you need is an everlasting love. All you want is.
Do you love what you feel? I think maybe another show dedicated to Rufus in the next 52 weeks would be good. In the next 44 weeks would be great in this season 2 of the Old School Rewind podcast. But you get a blast right there of how cool Rufus was. The biggie, though, for Rufus and Chaka was Ain't Nobody, Chaka's second Grammy Award-winning song with Rufus. Rufus and Chaka Khan racked up 5 RIAA certified gold and platinum albums during their time together. Rufus keyboardist David Hawk Walensky wrote the song around a repeating synthesizer loop backed by a Lin LM1. The LM1, of course, a drum computer. However, John J.R. Robinson, the band's drummer, played real drums for the recording session. The band did a democratic vote, and they decided to include the song in their album Repertoire. Once the song was recorded, Warner executives wanted to issue another song as the album's first single, and Walensky threatened to give the song to Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones for Thriller. That's if they didn't make the song the lead-off single. The label relented. Ain't Nobody was issued, hit number 1 on the R&B chart for the week ending October 15, 1983. It was also the song included on the soundtrack album to the 1984 film Breakin'. In case you were wondering, the song performed in the key of E, a minor with a tempo of 104 beats per minute in common time. Khan's vocals span from G, I don't even, is that sharp, flat, what is that? Sort of goofing on the Wikipedia here that had this sentence in there. The song's performed in the key of E minor with a tempo of 104 BPM in common time. The vocal span from G, what's the B? What's the lowercase b? 3 to E, then another little B, and then 5 in the song. Let's put on Ain't Nobody on the Old School Rewind podcast. This is the Old School Rewind podcast featuring Chaka Khan this week. We just played Ain't Nobody. It was inevitable that a singer with Chaka star power would eventually venture out on her own, and in 1978, Chaka blazed onto the music scene as a solo artist with the release of the smash hit I'm Every Woman, written by Ashford and Simpson. Playing in the background on the Rewind. Rewind. That was the very first one solo for Chaka Khan. I'm Every Woman, a big hit. I'm Aaron Goodwin, doing it with Chaka Khan this week. She's now paired with the late producer extraordinaire, Yvette Marie, Aretha Franklin, a Bette Midler's producer. Her catalog grew even more impressive with hits such as Clouds, Papillon, What You Gonna Do For Me. It was during this time that Chaka began pursuing her love of jazz. They brilliantly reworked the classic song Night in Tunisia with the song's originator, Dizzy Gillespie, doing the trumpet. Chaka also recorded an album of jazz standards titled Echoes of an Era, which featured such luminaries as Chick Corea, Stanley Clarke, Lenny White. Crowning achievement in jazz was the Grammy Award-winning tune Bebop Medley. Do we keep saying Grammy Award-winning? The song's album titled Chaka Khan also won a Grammy for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. Anybody else would be winded at this career. Not Chaka, as the biggest and best was yet to come, and the song that made Chaka Khan a household name and propelled her to superstardom the world over was I Feel For You, written and first performed by Prince. Here's Prince's version. A chart-topping, Grammy Award-winning song that made music history. It was released in 1984. I Feel For You was the first R&B song to feature a rap and rapper, which is, to this day, the best to ever touch a mic, Melly Mel. Chaka Khan's version of I Feel For You featured a supporting cast, including guitar, drum programming, bass guitar, keyboards, arrangements by Reggie Griffin, bass synthesizer programming by the system's David Frank using the Oberheim DSX sequencer. He had that connected to the Mini-Moog via CV and gate, and then the chromatic harmonica playing by Stevie Wonder. Song also uses vocal samples by Wonder's song Fingertips. That was a 1963 song for Stevie. And the repetition of Khan's name by Melly Mel at the beginning of the song, a mistake made by Mardin, who then decided to keep it. This version of the song sold more than 1 million copies in the U.S. and UK. It helped relaunch Khan's career. The song hit number 1 on the Cashbox singles chart, peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart for the weeks of November 24, 1984 to December 8, 1984. The song remained on the Billboard's Hot 100 for 26 weeks and became one of Billboard's 5 biggest pop songs of the year for 85. The single reached number 1 on both the U.S. dance R&B charts in late 84, remaining atop both for 3 weeks each. In addition, the song also reached number 1 on the UK singles chart. While touring with Prince in 1998 in support of her collaborative album, Come to My House, Prince and Khan finally performed I Feel For You as a duet. Let's jam Chaka, her biggest, featuring the best rapper in the world, Melly Mel.
Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, let me rock it, Chaka Khan. Let me rock it, that's all I wanna do, Chaka Khan. Let me rock it, Chaka Khan. Let me rock it, got a feel for you, Chaka Khan. What you tell me, what you wanna do? Do you feel for me the way I feel for you, Chaka Khan? Let me tell you what I wanna do. I wanna love you, wanna hug you, wanna squeeze you too. And let me take it in my arms, let me feel you with my charm, Chaka. Cause you know that I'm the one to keep you warm, Chaka. I make it more than just a physical dream. I wanna rock you, Chaka, baby, cause you make me wanna scream. Let me rock it, rock it. Let me rock it, that's all I wanna do, Chaka Khan. Let me rock it, Chaka Khan. Let me rock it, got the feel for you, feel for you. Let me rock it, that's all I wanna do. Chaka Khan, let me rock it, Chaka Khan. Let me rock it 'cause I feel for you. Chaka Khan, would you tell me what you wanna do? Do you feel for me the way I feel for you? Chaka Khan, let me tell you what I wanna do. I wanna love you, wanna hug you, wanna squeeze you too. So let me take you in my arm, let me feel you with my tongue, Chaka. 'Cause you know that I'm the one to keep you warm, Chaka. I make it more than just a physical dream. I wanna rock you, Chaka, 'cause you make me wanna scream. Feel for you.
Got it on the Old School Rewind podcast. Thank you for subscribing. Now, hopefully, you'll hit the notification button and then tell a friend. Maybe put it up on your social. Share with somebody and tell them. Aaron's in your ears with the candy from the early 80s. It was oh so sweet. Old school dance R&B. We're up to another marvel from David Foster as we feature the single Through the Fire, a song recorded by this week's feature artist, Yvette Marie Stevens, or Chaka Khan. Through the Fire is from her 6th studio album, I Feel For You. That album, 1984. The release date. The David Foster produced track was the 3rd single from the album. It reached number 60 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 chart, number 15 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart, and it was one of the few Khan hits to cross to the AC Adult Contemporary chart. The video itself for Through the Fire was filmed at Los Angeles Union Station. Now in top demand, Chaka lent her voice producer skills to 2 of the biggest hits of '86. And that's the year I got into radio. Steve Winwood's Higher Love. Robert Palmer's Addicted to Love.
You're gonna have to face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love.
Both were Grammy-winning songs. David Foster revealed in his 2011 PBS concert, The Hitman Returns. If you haven't seen it, you need to. 5 snaps, a star, whatever, how many Rotten Tomatoes? I'll just tell you, it's a killer DVD. Super producer David Foster says, this was the only melody he had ever wrote with someone in mind, and that the working title of the piece was actually called Chaka, because he was so confident that Chaka Khan would perform the song. That's David Foster. The song was sampled by Kanye West on Through the Wire, the breakout single from his 2004 debut album, The College Dropout.
Yo, G, they can't stop me from rapping, can they? Can they, hot? I spit it through the wire, man. Too much stuff on my heart right now, man. I gladly risk it all right now. It's a life or death situation, man. Y'all don't really understand how I feel right now, man. It's your boy Kanye Titter. Shot-town, what's going on? Yeah. I drink a boost for breakfast, an intro for dessert.
Thank you, Kanye. Here is Through the Fire from Chaka Khan on this week's Old School Rewind podcast.
I look in your eyes and I can see you've loved so dangerously. You're not trusting your heart to anyone. You tell me you're gonna play it smart. We're through before we start, but I believe that
we've only just begun. When it's this good, there's no saying no. I want you so I'm ready to go. Through the fire, to the limit, to the wall. For a chance to be with you, I'd gladly risk it all. Through the fire, through whatever comes what may. For a chance at loving you, I'd take it all away. Right down to the wire, even through the fire. I know you're afraid of what you feel. You still need time to heal, and I can help if you'll only let me try. You touched me and something in me knew what I could have with you. Now I'm not ready to kiss that dream goodbye. When it's this sweet, there's no saying no. I need you so I'm ready to go. Through the fire, to the limit, to the wall. For a chance to be with you, I'd gladly risk it all. Through the fire, through whatever comes what may. For a chance at loving you, I'd take it all away. Right down to the wire, even through the fire. Through the test of time. Through the fire, through the limit, to the wall. For the chance to be with you, I'd gladly risk it all. Through the fire, through whatever comes what may. For a chance at loving you, I'd take it all away. Right down to the wire, even through the
The Old School Rewind podcast now comes to a close with Chaka's mentions past 1986-ish, which is our primary focus on the Rewind. In 95, she made her musical theater debut on London's West End, where she starred in Mama, I Want to Sing. In 2002, she traveled to Las Vegas, and she starred in Signed, Sealed, Delivered, a critically acclaimed musical based on the music of Stevie Wonder. Her Broadway debut came in 2008 when she took over the role of Sophia in Oprah Winfrey's musical, The Color Purple. Chaka's emotive vocals can also be heard on a number of soundtracks, including Clockers, Set It Off, Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Miami Vice, White Nights, Moscow on the Hudson, rest in peace to Robin Williams, Disappearing Acts, Waiting to Exhale, rest in peace Whitney, Standing in the Shadows of Motown, as well as Tyler Perry hit Medea's Family Reunion and Meet the Browns. From the Chaka Khan website, during Chaka's career, she's collaborated with a long list of artists in diverse genres. Collaborators have included Miles Davis, Quincy Jones, Dizzy Gillespie, Stevie Wonder, Prince, Steve Winwood, Mary J. Blige, George Benson, Larry Graham, the London Symphony Orchestra, and countless others. Chaka has received a steady stream of accolades for both her artistry and philanthropy. In June of 2012, she was inducted into the Hollywood Bowl Hall of Fame, joining previously inducted music greats such as Frank Sinatra, Liza Minnelli, Stevie, Garth, Bonnie Raitt, George Harrison, B.B. King, Carlos Santana, Donna Summer. In 2011, she was honored for her legendary career with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. During the same year, Chaka honored with the United Negro College Fund's an Evening of Stars tribute. The program, which was televised on cable networks and broadcast stations in more than 40 cities nationwide. It featured tribute performances by Stevie Wonder, Fantasia, El DeBarge, Faith Evans, Angie Stone, Genuine, Chaka's brother Mark Stevens, and her daughter Indira Khan, among others. In recent years, Chaka has also received the Soul Train Legend Award, that was in 2009, the BET Lifetime Achievement Award in 2006, the Grammy Honors Award from the NARAS Chicago chapter in 2006, the World Music Award Lifetime Achievement Award in 2003. In 2004, Chaka received an honorary doctorate of music from Berklee College of Music. Chaka's autobiography, Through the Fire, published by Rodale Books in 2003, currently being adapted into a screenplay. Despite the busy schedule from the website, Chaka's always made time to support and uplift the community. She has a deep commitment to women, children at risk, led her to establish the Chaka Khan Foundation in 1999. Initially, the foundation focused primarily on public awareness campaigns around the diagnosis, intervention, and available family resources and search for a cure for autism. Her efforts were particularly aimed at communities of color and other undeserved communities where awareness about this disorder is low. Her work in this area, inspired by her nephew who has autism, Chaka describes as gifted and beautiful and so full of life. She later expanded the mission of the foundation to focus more broadly on women and children at risk. In July 12th, Chaka received the McDonald Corporation's 365 Black Award, honoring her of the Chaka Khan Foundation. Chaka, also an entrepreneur. In 2004, her line of gourmet chocolates, Chaka Lattes, sold in 20 Neiman Marcus stores around the country. Plans are underway to relaunch her signature brand of chocolate nationally and internationally. She currently is introducing Kana Sutra. That's a fragrance line for men, women, and the home, and also includes candies, room and linen sprays. She's also got a new felt look, new album, great enthusiasm for new and expanding activities and philanthropy. 10-time Grammy Award winner Chaka Khan, looking forward to a celebration of a lifetime. She's influenced generations of recording artists. She has the rare ability to sing in 7 music genres, including R&B, pop, rock, gospel, country, world music, classical, affectionately known around the world as Chaka, revered by millions of fans as well as her peers for her timeless, classic, and unmatched signature music style and ability. The late, great Miles Davis said, "She, Chaka, sings like my horn." And the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, once said, "Chaka is the one-of-a-kind premier vocalist." 22 albums, racked up 10 number 1 Billboard magazine charted songs, 7 RIAA certified gold singles, 10 RIAA certified gold and platinum albums. Chaka's recorded music has produced over 2,000 catalog song placements. "I am honored and blessed to celebrate 40 years in music and entertainment," says Chaka. "I'm humbled by the love, support, and gracious spirit of my fans worldwide and the continued support by my peers and how they've shown love to me over the years. Throughout my 40-year career, I've been through the fire a few times over, still here as a living testament to God's love and grace. I'll be celebrating 40 years in the business and 60 years on earth soon, and that equals 100% Chaka." Again, more about Chaka at Chaka Khan and her website. I'll see you next week from the 35 Acres and a Microphone podcast farm. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you Friday. Here comes one called Love of a Lifetime as we close out the show. The Old School Rewind podcast is brought to you every week as a work of art by me, Jay Speed, Aaron Goodwin. The podcast, its music, are in the public domain and provided for education and information purposes only.
You've been listening to the Old School Rewind. Share and subscribe now at oldschoolrewind.com.